Sorry, we didn't get this pre-organized.
Jean, I've got it.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, okay, good, because I was just going to say, I just need to get it.
Yeah, I've got it.
Thank
All
you,
beings,
thank you.
life forms, thought forms, entities, assemblages, technologies, beingnesses, awarenesses, and all else that exist that do not have our highest interest or the highest interest of all life everywhere are not in the highest service to the one true and only living God of all creation, I am, in thought, form, action, mind, deed, word, and in all ways, and all artificial intelligences and artificial life forms and the technologies they use, smart dust, nanodust, black goo, graphenes, algorithms, operating systems, thought forms, and all other artificial life, and all else that is not created by the one true living God, I am. I demand all to leave our mind, spirit, body, soul, and all that we are in all dimensions, entities, levels, and locations, now and forever, and never return. All permission to create or maintain attachments, to influence from within or without in any way, to cohabitate or possess in part or in whole, to affect or defect in any way, to feed off our energies, our mind, spirit, our bodies, or our soul, or anything that we are in any dimension, density, level, or location, or alter or change our thought, feelings, mental, physical, emotional, or genetic structure in any way, or create any pain, discomfort, or put us into disharmony with the one and only God of all creation, I am, is permanently and forever removed. All contracts, obligations, and agreements that we have made knowingly or unknowingly that are not in our highest interest, are not in the highest interest of all life everywhere, and are not in the highest service to the one true living God of all creation, I am, we now declare null and void. All emptiness, holes, vacancies, rips, tears, or injuries from the invocation, contract negation, and removal of artificial intelligences are now to be filled with the divine light of the Holy Spirit, where the one true living God, I am, and the healing and compassion of his only begotten Son, Jesus Christ. All protections and all this invocation are asked for in the name and authority of the one true living God of all compassion, love, light, and creation, I am, and his holy Son, Jesus Christ, and the Holy Spirit. As it is said, now it is done, and is sealed now and for all time. Teleste.
Well done, Mabel. My goodness, that was phenomenal. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I just got muted. Jenna, could I ask you to do the opening prayer?
Yes. Okay, so back over to you, buddy.
Yep, exactly. We'll get right into it right away. So this first item, as you can see, is from posted on X by Carrie Cassidy. And this is the People's View. Sean, this guy here, does a marvelous. If you don't follow that channel on Rumble, I highly recommend it. In this post, he says RFK vows to arrest Bill Gates for orchestrating devastating floods via chemtrails. And also, of course, in Texas's case was cloud seeding and HARP and a few other things. That's part of the orchestrating it, along with the chemtrails, the HARP, the cloud seeding. The Texas floods were an act of God. They were an act of war. RFK Jr.'s chemtrails task force that we've gone into before on updates, now operating deep inside the belly of the beast, has uncovered what the media won't touch: the devastating let me try that again, they're not Forbes. The devastating storms slamming the U.S. are engineered, and the names behind it, all too familiar. Bill Gates, Peter Thiel, the Clinton Foundation, their funding, their tech, their fingerprints are all over the scene. So let's see what I'm talking about regarding those storms. But they're not just using rain. They're also, again, using fire. And this is from Hustle, you know what, they're on X. The Van Fire is raging in Sun Valley, Nevada. And once again, no evacuation notices went out. Residents got zero warning. It's not a perfect system, officials say. I say that's a broken system. It's not perfect. What the HE double hockey sticks is wrong with our emergency alert systems? Every single time, how do you forget to warn people? So in regards to the flooding, and let's go first. They keep talking about climate change. This on Sophie Dahl on X put this, and I've called it this for a very long time, the climate change scam. Meteorologist and founder of the Weather Channel, John Coleman, in under 3 minutes. We're going to listen to a part of it, but you can find it the full 2 minutes and 32 seconds here. I resent, he says in this, I resent you calling me a denier. That is a word meant to put me down. There is no significant global warming now. There hasn't been in the past, and there's no reason to expect it in the future. Yeah, it's called weather. It's cyclic. We're coming out of an ice age, like I've said before. So let's listen to what he has to say. It's really eye-opening here.
For all of your viewers, I resent you calling me a denier. That is a word meant to put me down. I'm a skeptic about climate change, and I want to make it darn clear, Mr. Kinney is not a scientist. I am. He's the CEO of the Weather Channel now. I was the founder of the Weather Channel, not the co-founder.
And I'm glad you did, because I am addicted to the Weather Channel. I like.
Yeah, you see how they interrupt and try to dislodge the other person? This is a standard technique that the CIA-trained newscasters do.
Stop talking now. Hold on just a minute. I'm not done. And CNN has taken a very strong position on global warming that it is a consensus. Well, there is no consensus in science. Science isn't a vote. Science is about facts. And if you get down to the hard, cold fact.
And I want to say this about that statement. I've said this many times before. I think it's Gandhi that said, just because everybody believes something is true doesn't make it true. And even if only one person knows the truth and nobody agrees with it, doesn't mean that's not the truth. So science is not consensus.
There's no question about it. Climate change is not happening. There is no significant man-made global warming now. There hasn't been any in the past, and there's no reason to expect any in the future. There's a whole lot of baloney. And yes, it has become a big political point of the Democratic Party and part of their platform. And I regret it's become political instead of scientific. But the science is on my side.
I don't think we're going to come to a conclusion about the topic right here. What I do wonder though is when you see
because you wouldn't allow it to happen on CNN. But so
CNN. No surprise, they're not going to allow it to happen.
Happy that I got on the air and got a chance to talk to your viewers. Hello, everybody. There is no global warming.
What I do wonder is when you see the government, when you see NASA, when you see other institutions say that 97% of climate scientists agree.
Back to the consensus theory, are we?
Do you think they're making it up? What I don't understand is how you square that.
That's a manipulated figure, and let me explain it to you. The government puts out about $2.5 billion directly for climate research every year. It only gives that money to scientists who will produce scientific results that support the global warming hypothesis of the Democrat Party or position. So they don't have any choice. If you're going to get the money, you got to support their position. Therefore, 97% of the scientific reports published support global warming. Why? Because those are the ones the government pays for, and that's where the money is. It's real simple, but that doesn't mean it's right. That doesn't make it true. That only makes it bought and paid for.
There you go. Bought and paid for. Liars can figure. Figures don't lie, but liars can take those figures and make them lie. And so what are we also seeing in regards to these massive floodings in Texas? It was a combined event of cloud seeding, chemtrailing, as I've said, and then also HARP was involved. And then there was a dump going. Most of them are not this. I want to be clear. What's going on in New Jersey and many other states is not this. There was a dump underneath that area that were trying to get into the alliance. And so they used a small standard like C4 type of explosive. On the other side, at the exact same time, the cabal knew they're coming, so they had evacuated everything. And they had a tactical nuke. And so the tactical nuke took out the facility and some of the alliance on the other side. But every river in the world, just about, except the Colorado River, has what's called an aquifer under it. It's a massive river, 10 to 100 times bigger, flowing far beneath it towards the sea. And that's the same thing with the Guadalupe. And so what got released when they did that tactical nuke, it cracked down into and made a fissure down into that underground aquifer river. And 10 trillion gallons of water were released. That's why it flooded so fast, so bad. So it's understanding what we're looking at. So over to you, Paul. Any comments?
Well, we've seen some really strange weather events recently. I think that's the only way to describe it. And you know, let's go back to what RFK Jr. said on the interview that he did. DARPA are directly putting chemicals into jet fuel. It's not about the tubes hanging off the back of the planes anymore. They're too clever for that. They've literally stepped their game up to try and cover up as much as they can.
Absolutely, Paul. You're absolutely correct. They're stepping their game up to cover things up and to, since they have the Epstein list and they're using it as blackmail against the deep state is almost out of weapons. So what they're resorting to is weather warfare and fires and those kind of things. Well put. Well put. Thank you, Paul. So on more of the flooding from the same post on X that I mentioned earlier, the hustle guy, live water rescue as America floods. How is this still normal? It's not normal. Scotch Plains, New Jersey, crews caught a dramatic rescue as a flash flood slammed the tri-state warning, still active. This isn't weather, it's weather warfare, and I couldn't agree more. This is a very short clip, so keep your eyes open. But it really shows what's going on.
So this is the corner of Mountain Avenue and Park Avenue in downtown Scotch Plains. You have a New Jersey Transit bus stuck in the water, a Yankee bus, and a Scotch Plains ambulance. If I push in down here, in that white car, I just watched them hook a guy up out of the car and then drag him with a rope to this side. I guess he was the driver of the car. That's the Scotch Plains Rescue Department there. And what you're looking at here, this is a 5-lane road. You are looking at runoff from the Watchung Reserve. It's probably 3 or 4 feet.
It's now a 5-lane river. So do you have any of this kind of stuff going on up there in the UK yet, Paul?
No, we didn't. We had ours a few years ago, all the weird flash flooding. Now, we haven't had anything for probably the last couple of years that I would say, oh my God. So I don't know. Maybe they finished with the UK, moved on to the US. I'm unsure on that one, Gene.
Yeah, okay. So, yeah, hopefully that's the case. So thank you, Paul. And then on to a few other items that are going on in the world. So in your neck of the woods, to try to support the war in Ukraine or the money laundering machine in Ukraine, the French Prime Minister has asked patients, this is Lord Bebo on X, to take less medication to reduce the national debt. Just days after Macron pledged an additional 6.5 billion euros to the military and gave 2 billion as a gift to Zelensky. Yeah, and what a travesty. That's all I have to say. Totally freaking evil. These people are just sick. So then on the world news front also, we have that Israel is attacking Syria, and it's ostensibly to save the Druze that were being wiped out by the new HMS government there. So you can see here, more Israeli strikes are being reported in Dara, Syria. Israel is bombing Syria fully today. And so what is happening is the alliance is using them. So what they're using them to do is Druze of the bloodline of Christ. They have the rarest blood type on earth. It's known as type P. It was taken and typed off the Shroud of Turin. So you can see where the Druze are, and they're talking about setting up a country that is the Druze. And I think that would be absolutely fantastic. Personally, this is posted by Lord Bebo on X as well. Israel wants to fracture and break up Syria. Likely goal for now is to split off the Druze. That's the goal, actually, totally. Have you heard of this one, Paul, at all?
No, this is a first for me, Gene. I mean, I'm sitting here going, now I'm starting to see a plan coming out. Organization on the planet in charge of a country. Well, now we can see that it's to break it up. They're managing the downfall. That's the term I was thinking of.
Absolutely. So let's take a look at what is actually happening from the Lord Bebo again. Syrian local resources movements of Israeli tanks in the vicinity of Taranja. I don't know if they do the Spanish, probably not, village in the northern countryside of Quinatra. Video is Israel bombing in Damascus today. And since it's now the 17th, that's yesterday, because that's the 16th. So here's yesterday.
الاستهداف من ناحية الأركان بشكل كامل. ثاني معروف منتصر سلطة على الهواء وتصف هيئة الأركان بغارتين. نعم.
So for those of you that speak Arabic, you could send a translation. I don't speak Arabic. It just sounds like I don't know, nothing at all to me. So it's just, the world is changing and things are moving forward. And the interesting thing for me is, back to the tunnels and things, this has been going on for a long time, long before I came on the scene. So this is Barron Trump's posting on X. Ted Gunderson, who was a FBI chief, he's now a long time gone, but tried to warn everyone. Underground tunnels exist till this day, used for our satanic rituals. Members of the White House. I'm not surprised at all. So let's listen to what Ted has to say.
California. The children there claimed there were tunnels under the school. They were taken into the tunnels and through.
And this is in California.
The tunnels up into the trap door of a bathroom in a triplex next door, placed in automobiles and prostituted in the community. These are 2, 3, and 4-year-old children before they entered kindergarten. In addition, the children claimed that they were flown into the mountains where they were involved with adults in robes, black robes, chanting candles. They talked about the brown babies who were sacrificed. And in checking into this and researching this, of course, this was obviously a satanic ceremony. The McMartin family, who owned the preschool, they were tried of Ray Bucky and his grandmother. The grandmother was acquitted, hung jury on Ray Bucky. The second trial, another hung jury.
You see how crooked our system has been. They got off trial twice on a hung jury, and they faced no charges, no nothing.
I had an opportunity in 1990.
And tell me where that's how things are now. We see things happening now. The largest ring like this just came down in a marijuana farm in California where over 300 children were rescued and 300 people are being prosecuted too.
To gain control of the school.
And those are illegal immigrants.
Now, the school had been given to Danny Davis.
So that's the end of the clip, actually. So back to you, Paul. I know you've had the same kind of thing. There was a gentleman I watched talking about this in the UK, and I actually saw a video of a young man naked coming out of the, well, you've probably seen that. I'll just let you talk about it. Go ahead, Paul.
Well, just to talk about this a bit more, we've got it in our what we call grooming gangs. the big scandal that's going on at the moment, where our government have absolutely no interest in dealing with it whatsoever. They're more interested in protecting these supposed minority groups for them to vote for them. Now, we know they are everywhere across the United Kingdom, and we are seeing a true lack of action on our police's behalf of going in there and saving those children. This is massive. This is absolutely massive. You know, when America states that they're missing hundreds of thousands of children, these children have got to be somewhere. And it is being dismantled piece by piece. It just makes me sad that it's not going quick enough to save those children as fast as possible. But the UK is a massive hub at the moment. And there's a documentary coming out, and I can't remember who's in it, about how Ukrainian children are being smuggled into the UK for heinous things.
Exactly, Paul. And I talked about this over 6 years ago on an interview with Linda Ferris, and showed a video during Trump's first term of them taking children out at night from the White House. It was very obvious. So that's why I'm not surprised about the statement under DC, because it's and when they were down there, it's horrifically evil and disgusting. So I'm sorry this is a rough one, but you got to go into what we're getting in of and out of, because we will see the difference already happening. So from Baron Trump on X, Don Bongino's team leaks Epstein file. That's why they're holding it back, for the leaks to start happening. FBI Deputy Director Dan Bongino isn't just rattling cages, he's going scorched earth. His relentless crusade against the Attorney General's official Epstein cover-up has triggered a leak. You see, it's triggering leaks that's shaking the highest halls of power, circulating on the dark web. A classified file proving former President Barack Obama was an Epstein client, containing revelations so stomach-churning that veteran investigators described it as the kind of material that leaves a permanent stain on the soul. According to the file, Obama didn't just visit Epstein's island, he did so under full Secret Service detail, a fact Bongino reportedly found odious, and so do I. And then on we go with more of this. It's breaking out from the other investigation, going into, well, I'll go into that next. But first, we'll go to leading report. FBI Director Don Bongino showed up to work today, and then back to Sean on the People's View. Don Bongino's team leaks Epstein files, like we just read there previously. And so this is a backup on what we just heard. And then, so you can see it in more than one place. And then going, here we go, from Medea Greer on X. And you can see national security bombshell, Obama under federal investigation. The DOJ is invoking 18 U.S. Code 241. The DOJ is invoking that aforementioned code, placing Barack Obama under federal criminal investigation for his role as the Obama Russiagate architect tied to illegal FISA operations, deep state surveillance network, and high-level espionage. Obama faces life in prison. New evidence links to him to the Obama, Comey, Brennan scandal. I told you all of this with Comey and Brennan. It's going to tie to Obama, and here we are. A coordinated assault on Trump's 2016 campaign. The shield of power is gone. Justice is coming. Obama under federal criminal investigation for espionage and conspiracy. And so we're going to start to see it. The arrest trials are coming. So over to you, Paul. Any comments?
Yeah, this is interesting because Dan Bongino looked very uncomfortable in the interview he did with Kash Patel. Like, he had to have his eyes so wide and so fixed that when he said that, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
He's actually having a soul fight at the moment on doing what obviously everyone's telling him to do and doing the right thing. And I lost faith in Dan Bongino, but what I've heard in this last week is actually restoring my faith. If he's half the man I think he is, he's going to do far more now than he's done in the last few months of being assistant FBI director.
Yeah, you're seeing the art of war. What's what Trump's flip-flopping, the files don't exist, all this is to this war is at the upper levels, is between fallen and the angels that are still aligned with God. It's at the very top. This is the war of all times. And so at that point, when you get down, for those that Lucifer, Satan, and all that minions are below them, you're talking their way to get and show that they're better than God is to come after the children first, because that's the closest expression to God in the beginning of life from God that there is. And so they infiltrated everything to do just exactly that. So on this post, we can see the school system. This is from Red Pill Drifter on X, Bill Gates Education Software. This teacher is exposing it, and boy, does she tell the truth about what the school system is really about.
I don't think most parents or even teachers realize how deep this goes. Since 2019, kids have been tracked the moment they log into their school devices. Their emotions, behavior, diagnosis, their race and gender, every click, every search is recorded and handed over to tech companies without your consent. I was a teacher for over 5 years. I resigned mid-year because I could not, in good conscience, remain in the system any longer. I have a master's in education, and I'm currently earning my PhD right now. And I'm telling you, this goes deep. Programs like HMH, Amplify, Dreambox, Panorama, Class Dojo, Success Ed, all of this, Khan Academy, they're backed by billionaires like Gates, Bezos, Zuckerberg. You can literally Google this info. These are so much more than just educational tools. They are surveillance systems. Schools sign contracts as your child's parent under a loophole, a legal loophole. And tech companies are legally considered school officials. That means they can track and collect everything. This is not education anymore. It is data mining. It is manipulation and exploitation. And I refuse to stay silent. Protect your kids. Ask hard questions. The system is not broken. It was built this way. That's why it's still operating from the same factory model it was originally designed in during the Industrial Revolution. The system is not meant to nurture your children. It is meant to box them in, label them, silence them, and pump out obedient workers.
Yep, created by the Rockefeller Foundation to do precisely that. Is that similar over there in UK?
Yes, I don't know too much about the software that's being used in the schools in the UK, but propaganda is very strong. I mean, just this last week, a school held a multicultural day. Now, the white British girl wore a Union Jack dress, similar to the one that the Spice Girls, the girl in the Spice Girls wore, but it was an appropriate length. It wasn't trash or anything. The school made her sit in reception for half a day because it wasn't appropriate. Now, this was a World Multicultural Day. The indoctrination that is happening inside our school system is massive. It is massive, and all parents need to take note of what is going on in that system.
Absolutely, Paul. Absolutely. So what we're fighting, and to understand this, they always tell you what they're going to do. They have to. It's the laws of God. So this from Sophie Still Fighting on X. When the WEF tells you that digital currency is going to be used to control what you're allowed to buy and sell, in other words, a good little worker bee, and you don't own anything, they're going to control everything. You should believe them. So let's go listen to it from the horse's mouth. And I'm sorry to be derogatory to horses.
I
And the one final note that I will make is that if you think about the benefits of digital money, there are huge potential gains. It's not just about digital forms of physical currency. You can have programmability, units of central bank currency with expiry dates. You could have, as I argue in my book, a potentially better and some people might think or a darker world where the government decides that units of central bank money can be used to purchase some things, but not other things that it deems less desirable, like say ammunition or drugs or pornography or something of the sort. And that is very powerful in terms of the use of a CBDC. And
so for those of you that have your third eye open, please go watch this with your third eye and see what you see this person looks, this being looks like actually is. So on we go with, well, I'll go to you first, Paul, for some comment. Go ahead.
That's quite a prominent video because that is the next phase of control coming for the world population. This isn't just one country. This is going to be for across the world. And what's going on at the moment in the US is phenomenal because there is an act going through to stop CBDCs from coming into existence. So this isn't something that is coming. The fight has already started to stop it. And trust me, when you get told you've had too many steaks this week or this month, or, well, actually, you've driven 100 miles, we can't let you drive anymore, they start turning off your money. And that's how scary this can be. Luckily, I believe the tide's turning. I believe we are seeing good coming into this world because, trust me, I couldn't have done another year with all the bad things that were going on. So I'm still excited about where we're going.
Me too. And I can tell you, they've shown us over and over, they tell you what's coming. And I'll show you that what was coming is not what is coming. It's been a massive change. So from Ricardo Bossi, reposted Market MACOT 22, they always tell you, let's go listen to what they were saying.
I propose that we end the world, but on our terms, an orchestrated apocalypse, one that will cleanse.
And for those that don't know, this is the umbrella corporation that sits in a pocket universe.
The earth of its population but leave its infrastructure and resources intact. It's been done once before. The chosen few will ride out the storm, not in an ark as in the book of Genesis, but in safety, underground. And when it's over, we will emerge onto a cleansed earth, one that we can then reboot in our image.
So you see why the seed banks, the domes, the tunnels now? This is what they actually had in store for us, and it was switched out by the Alliance for the C19.
Loaded to my data streams. It created a conflict in my programming. I was created to serve the Umbrella Corporation.
That would have been 87% lethal. That's what they had coming for us. And so you can see that we have, thanks to the Alliance, dodged a massive bullet. And here's Nixon. I went through where it becomes relevant here, posted on X by Patricia, 1109 Patricia. Does this sound familiar?
Why they were concerned. I am not the.
Ian, you have to share the video.
What's that?
You have to share the video.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, let me roll it back to where I was. Hold on.
The sound was a little quiet as well, Gene.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry about that. Did I not share the last one?
No.
Oh, dear. I'll have Sophie, please put that one in. You heard it, right?
Yes.
Okay. I'll have Sophie edit it in.
With the war out of the way, having won by 62%, I had a mandate. I was going to reorganize the government. I was going to cut down on the bureaucrats. I was going to return more power to the states and the people. I was going to shape up the place. They knew that. The media knew it. The bureaucracy knew it. The elitists knew it. The establishment, they didn't like it.
Oh, and they wouldn't like it. So that's posted as you see there. And that one on the umbrella corporation will be edited in. Sorry about that. So just so much to share. about what's going on and the changes in the world. And so we see a lot of changes. Amongst those changes is the hitting the big spots first. So that would be the IRS and the Fed. And the Fed leads to the World Bank and the Bank of International Exchange, SWIFT system, the World Banking System, and the International Monetary Fund, are what they called in the old days the impossible mission forces. And it's impossible, they thought, for it to be brought down. So it is being brought down, as you see here on Truth Social. I believe this post is on from real Donald J. Trump. The Fed, $2.5 billion in HQ headquarters renovations, $700 million over budget. And people in the US are hurting. This is our tax dollars. Terrace rooftop gardens, this for the Federal Reserve Building. Water features, VIP elevators, premium marble. And this is on, you can see, was originally put up on Fox News. And so going further into this, from Baron Trump on X, boom, Trump waved a copy of the firing letter for federal chair Jerome Powell right in the Oval Office, right in front of the White House Republicans. It's time to end the fake independence of the Fed. Inflation, interest, rate manipulation, globalist control, fire him, Mr. President, and put America back in charge of our money. And I would say, as per Article 1, Section 8, Trump has drafted the letter, as you can see here, to fire Fed chair and asked Republicans if he should. The president waved a copy of the draft letter firing Jerome H. Powell at the meeting in the Oval Office with House Republicans. It remains to be seen whether he follows through with his threat. I think it's going to happen. I really do. It's going to follow through. As leading report put out on X, Fed Chair we just saw per POTUS. So it is happening. So any comments on this so far, Paul?
Well, what do we know? We know that they are a totally independent organization that manipulates and controls economies. They allow false narratives of 0% interest for too long, so everyone gets themselves into massive debt. Then they skyrocket the interest rates so people lose their homes. If you can't see this is an agenda where we will own nothing and be happy, you're living under a rock.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. So there's a wonderful little kind of video that's a takeoff on all of what's going on to make it a little bit lighter for all of you at Poppy Trumpo on X at Donald Trumpo. You know it's time. And this is really pretty funny for me. I mean, I think it's funny, but anyway, let me see if I can get this to cooperate with me here.
For the time being, we are well positioned to wait to learn more.
You're fired.
You're fired. I agree. You're fired. He's the president. You're fired. That's simple. Like back in the in his video, his TV series. You're fired. You know. So, what is actually going on? So we see a lot of fake things being put up in front of us, such as this post on Charlie Kirk on X. This is a company. It's called Crowds on Demand. The CEO said he was offered $20 million to recruit demonstrators for the anti-Trump protests on Thursday. Reporter, have the July 17th organizers of the demonstrations approached you? CEO, interests aligned with the organizers of the July 17th movement approached us. And I think this is 2024, but this is exactly where we came from. And in fact, we rejected an offer that is probably worth around $20 million. And he just said 20 million. The reporter said $20 million. The CEO said, correct. I mean, this is a nationwide thing, right? It's not to say I would have made 20 million personally. Yeah, because you have a company. You got to split it out some. But the value of the contract would have been worth around that amount nationwide to organize huge demonstrations around the country. But personally, I just don't think it's effective. So I'm not trying to call myself virtuous for rejecting it. What I'm saying is I'm rejecting it not because I don't want to take the business, but because frankly, this isn't going to be this is going to be ineffective. It's going to make us look bad. It's all about how you log on. So I asked Swart, who actually offered him the 20 million. That of course was the natural question, but he says he would not say, says he does not talk about who exactly his clients are, that it would be bad for business. And he's been in the business for 15 years and he has to turn down a lot of contracts. But interesting, 20 million is a lot of money. Ho said, O'Brien, quickly, before I let you go, did he explain about why he doesn't want to be involved with the Thursday protests? Well, he said he had some concern about violence based on what he's seen in the past, but mostly he doesn't think that it's productive or really making a difference, big picture, about how the country feels about Trump. And he says he just didn't want to get involved. So there it is. And that's on News Nation where he's being interviewed apparently. And so it shows you where we came from and where we're going. And so where we're going is something, the rest wars. So this is from Warner's on X, and I'm going to just click through this. It's a bit long, but seditious coup d'etat, 18 U.S. Code 2384, seditious conspiracy, 20 years in prison. If two or more persons conspire to overthrow, put down, or destroy by force the government of the United States, they will each be fined under this title or imprisoned not more than 20 years or both. John Brennan, seditious conspiracy. James Clapper, seditious conspiracy. James Comey, same thing. Andrew McCabe, Susan Rice, Loretta Lynch, Sally Q. Yates, Samantha Power, Peter Strzok, Lisa Page, Bruce Orr, Nellie Orr, Glenn R. Simpson, Adam Schiff, John Podesta, Mark Zuckerberg, Jack Dorsey, Rod Rosenstein, Robert Mueller, Andrew Weissman, Eric Swalwell, Ilhan Abdullahi Omar, Richard Blumenthal, Dianne Feinstein, Ben Rhodes, Brian Porter Kemp, not only seditious conspiracy, rebellion of insurrection, advocating overthrow of the government. Kathleen Hobbs, seditious conspiracy and rebellion. Seditious conspiracy, Jenny Riposaski, and same two items again for Mitch McConnell. And so from 1992, published interview granted by President George W. Bush to Sarah McClendon, the Grand Dame of the White House Peace Corps at the time. Quote, if the American people ever found out what we have done, they will chase us down the streets and lynch us. That's a direct quote now. Prescott Sheldon Bush, George Herbert Walker and George Walker Bush, Richard Bruce Cheney, Donald Henry Rumsfeld, Condoleezza Rice treason, Colin Powell, Robert Swan Mueller, treason as well, Madeleine Jane Corbell Albright, Henry Kissinger, he's gone, misprision of treason, rebellion of insurrection, and seditious conspiracy. Same charges again on Karl Rove, Barbara Bush, treason and conspiracy, as well as Lauren Welsh Bush, treason for Dianne Feinstein, and also for Charles Schumer, and Maxine Waters, and Leslie Dahl is seditious conspiracy and the RICO Act violations. You see CBS, now we're going into political figures, CIA people, in other words. See 60 Minutes. Dan Rather, seditious conspiracy and violation of the RICO Act, CBS Evening News. Yamiche Alcindor, PBS NewsHour, seditious conspiracy, RICO. Seditious conspiracy, RICO again, Jack Persovic, Margaret Brennan, Christine Welker, Sanjay Gupta, William Geist, Keith Theodore Olberon, he was with ESPN. And again, treason we saw for Mueller, Clapper, and Brennan, just summing it up. And of course, Comey is now under investigation for that. Nadler. And then Pelosi, Schumer, and Sanders for treason. Summing up under one charge, different people. This is Brian Douglas, and then you have Geraldo Rivera's for the level of treason. Donald Henry Rumsfeld, Richard Bruce Cheney, George Herbert Walker Bush, Condoleezza Rice, Colonel Colin Luther Powell, General Powell, Michael Richard Pence, William Barr, Merrick Garland, Anthony Blinken, George Soros, Alvin Leonard Bragg Jr., Adam Bennett Schiff. And the moment you comprehend that Barry was never on America's side, the decision he made as US president makes perfect sense. Hussein Obama Sotoro, besides the thing with the kids. Hillary Diane Rodham Clinton, there she is again. William Clinton, her husband, Elizabeth Cheney, Alejandro Mayorkas, Jacob Sullivan. In other words, the last regime, Victoria Nuland, Valerie Jarrett, John Robert Bolton, Nathan Rothschild, Lynn Rothschild, Evelyn Robert Adrian D. Rothschild, James Carter, Lindsey Graham, John McCain. We already know that's long gone. So there you are, the Mockingbird media mouthpieces, the Guantanamo retirement community, the crimes against humanity, the military tribunals as per 1945 Nuremberg Charter. So you can watch the rest of this here, but that's the meat of it. So I wanted to summarize that all for everyone here, what's they've got coming and where we came from and how things are changing. So any comments, Paul?
Yeah, just to reiterate there's a lot happening behind the scenes. This isn't, we know what they're guilty of, but you need to understand some of this will never happen in the public eye because they need to use these people to achieve goals in correcting the wrongs that they have done over the courses of their political careers, their lives, whichever way you want to name it. So don't get angry because you're not seeing the arrests. You're not seeing them get sent down to the clinker. You need to take a breath and know that the good is being done out there. And just because you can't see it in front of your eyes doesn't mean that the powers that are working for good aren't working behind the scenes. Oh, Gene, you're muted if you're talking.
Yes, really well with myself. So I'm going to run probably a little over. If you need to step out, Paul, go ahead. But I want to get through everything I've got here. It's pretty big. So the Mafia, this is from Lena on X by the Ricardo Bossi reposting. Mila Joy at X. The Mafia tried to get Trump, but they determined he was uncorruptible. And that's from a Mafia Gambino crime boss. Sammy the Bull Garavano said Donald Trump is incorruptible. I tried to get him. He just wouldn't bite. He tried, luring the kids, the money, billions of dollars to a billionaire. I don't know how well that would work. It's like, so now let's see how we're cleaning things up. From Barron Trump on X, Marjorie Taylor Greene just dropped a nuke. Her bill would require proof of U.S. citizenship to vote in federal elections. Democrats are panicking because if only citizens vote, they lose 27 congressional seats instantly. That tells you everything. Their power depends on illegals. Ours depends on patriots. So true. And then on we go with how this bill is going to affect things. Her new bill, and this is from the general on X, would require proof of citizenship. Like I said, 27 congressional seats are counted immediately into the Republicans. And so they will lose the House and their control of it. Trump is 10 steps ahead, as per Barron Trump on X. While Democrats scream racism, he's flipping the map. Texas is about to add 5 new Republican-leaning districts, thanks to Trump's push for redistricting. This isn't just local politics. It's a national MAGA power move. Secure the seats, secure the House, secure the country. Who's ready to watch the left cry in November? Me, I'm ready. It's like, absolutely. So then let's see. Let's get to that after this one. I wanted to pull up this consensus from Charlie Kirk on X about that bill, groundtaking, that the bill will totally reshape our elections, and that's the 27 congressional seats. And he says, quote, we've had decades, and especially the past 4 years of our country basically being invaded with tens of millions of people from all over the world. Americans don't feel like they're represented in Washington because we weren't. So I have a bill that calls for a new census. And this is Marjorie Taylor Greene, of course. It doesn't count the population. However, it has a second count. And that's counting American citizens only. The second part of the bill for new reapportionment. So district lines, that was what goes into Texas that you were reading, would be drawn based on the count of American citizens. Also means that certain areas will have less in the electoral house too. That'll be reapportioned, especially for California. They're going to lose a lot, because a lot of that's illegals. That way, American citizens are represented here in Washington, D.C. And then the third thing my bill calls for is when anyone goes to vote in a federal election, they have to show proof of citizenship when they show up to vote. And this will drastically change our elections. As you see what I said, you'll see states like California lose electoral college votes. You'll see states like California lose House seats, as well as New York, and other sanctuary states like Illinois, Colorado, and on we go. So you see how it is changing, and things actually are improving. And there's changes in the world, and it's coming for good. And so it used to be that they were in charge. It's no longer is. So from Rapid Response 47 on X, during the campaign, I promised I'd save the Homer City power plant in Pennsylvania. Yesterday, I made good on that promise with a $15 billion private investment to resurrect it as the largest national gas-fired power plant ever in North America. So, yep, bringing it back home, bringing it and turning it back on. Rolls-Royce from Rapid Response again invest $75 million in South Carolina engine plant. These are big engines. Some Rolls-Royce makes engines for jets too, by the way. This 60,000 foot square expansion allows Rolls-Royce to manufacture more of its engine components in the United States rather than rely on parts from Germany. So, yeah, you can see the changes. It just goes on and on and on. Charlie Kirk on X. Wow, President Trump announced an amazing trade deal with Indonesia. We now have full access with zero tariffs for the U.S., while Indonesia will face 19%. This is a game changer. Yeah, I would say so. And not only that, we have this one. And the mainstream media is losing their mind because this, again, from Rapid Response 47 on X. Just in, wholesale prices were flat in June, coming in below economists' expectations. That is all very good news. The numbers are less than expectations. They're sequentially less. How sequentially less, and how is that affecting us? from Trump War Room. Inflation's dead. There was no inflation at all in June. That's how it's affecting us. And then we have the response, something else tying to the floods in Texas with less devastation. And this is the way I love it. Area 51, again from the Hustle guy on X. Live stream team reports strange lights, smoke, and unexplained activity. I can explain it. They're burning the place out. We're seeing smoke rise from inside the base. Aircraft convoys, flashes in the sky, ships escaping, in other words, and in non-terrestrials. A lightning fire burning since July 4th. We're the 17th. This is 13 days in. A lightning fire been burning since July 4th. Vegas tourists told to stay inside. Coincidence? No. No, burning the base down. Yay, burning all the creatures in there. So that's really good news. And then to change gears here, I know I'm going fast, but I'm trying to get things into here as quickly as we can for Baron Trump on X. The FDA is officially for sale. It has been, in other words. Big Pharma can now buy drug approvals with 10 million, like they didn't do it during the 19 days. 10 million to pay to play fee. No real oversight, no independent review, just profit over safety. The same corrupt machine that lied about those guys is now flooding America with untested poisons. Trump tried to expose them. They tried to silence him. Now the truth is out. How many lives have they sold for cash? Yeah, because of the 19 stuff. So let's go in and expose on that from sudden and unexpected on X at Too Baffled. Always remember that those people who mandated the dangerous, ineffective, experimental jab never mandated it for their own people. The reason why should be pretty obvious.
Wow, all you people that took this thing, see, do as I say, not as I do. And right here, the powers that be wanted you to take it, but they were exempt from taking it. And all you people that have employers that made you do it, why aren't you suing them? Have you seen what's happened to people with this? Of course you're not, because they're not showing it to you. But the CDC, they recently stopped recommending it. They kind of want it to go away because that thing is bad. It's causing a lot of problems. And wait till you hit the 5-year mark of this.
So you can watch the rest, but you get the point. That'll save us a little bit of time here and click through things. This is a letter, and I believe this is in Canada, posted by Lindsay, our registered nurse at House Lindsay. The infamous letter. That is what they've done to us and continue to do to date as a solution to their poisoning, the lack of medical care and abandonment from our governments. Grab your tissues, and I say, yes, indeed. So I'm going to play some of this. It's a little hard to listen to, but it's what's happened. People can't put up with the pain. It gets too much.
I would like to finish with a letter from a friend that I received a couple of months ago. Free. I cannot take this any longer. This has taken everything away from me. My career, my family, my life. My body will not stop attacking itself. And this is beyond the worst amount of torture. They have further erased my very existence. Please accept my apologies. I must bid farewell to this world. Please tell our stories. Please make sure the world knows the cruelty that has been imposed upon us. Goodbye, my dear friend. I will see you on the flip side.
Thank you, Bree. I want you to describe, because you talked to me after our journey.
This is a U.S. senator, so I know of this. So this is not in Canada. This is the U.S.
event. There were something like 2,000 people on your various Facebook groups, support groups, people like your friend there that were using that group to
comfort each other.
This was done in a U.S. Senator hearing that's being spearheaded by the Senator Johnson.
Provide counseling to, in your case, you're providing counseling to people who are suicidal. Literally within a week, that group had grown to about 5,000. And then describe what Facebook did to your support groups.
They found us and quickly pulled us apart. They eliminated every single person in those groups, and we lost contact with a lot of people that were in crisis.
So you mentioned your testimony that NIH knows about this, CDC knows about this, FDA knows about this. I appreciate what media came here, but not only did we invite these agency heads, we invited mainstream media or more mainstream media. And of course, they didn't show up.
So over to you, Paul. I think you had something to share regarding this. You've seen where that is. For those that want to hear the whole thing, it's worth it, but it is pretty rough to hear. It's sad. So, yeah. Paul, you have something to share in regards to this?
I do, and it's something that's quite harrowing. Now, this is from Holistic Dr. Bright on Instagram. Now, I'm just going to pick one or two out of this because we've still got a lot to go on the show. We've got 2,181 spike in hypertension, 1,048 spike in the nervous system, 279% increase in miscarriages. I mean, the list goes on. I'm not going to read them all out there. There are some very bad things in there. But I suggest everyone go out there and do some research on what these dreaded V words, shall we say, have done to us. And we've done this willingly.
Yeah, and people that were watching that, go back and look at the female fertility. The same is true for males, and they find there's no sperm in there. It's spike proteins in their testes. So this is a horrific satanic evil. If you don't think it's satanic, it's happened before. So let's see what I mean. From Karma on X at 44921039. The satanic globalist agenda is to genetically modify mankind into what I said before is Genesis, and many people are, and non-humans using mRNA technology. So we're going to listen to just a little bit of what these two, I think they're priests or pastors, are saying, but it's a pretty interesting question, and I don't think it's a question. I think it's a statement.
Transitioning from one thing to another, we're transhumaning. They're transitioning the human race to another species. Okay, and it won't be long. It'll be in the 2020s. If you survive to 2030 without any of these genetic therapies injected into you, these biological operating systems, if you can survive to the 2030s and not become a human antenna, it's not just going to be one thing. It's going to be multiple things that they're going to try to get into our bodies. Right. If you can survive to the 2030s as a pure human being, you're going to be in a small minority of resistors. Insurrectionists, enemies, infidels, but you will be the remaining purebloods. The remaining human purebloods on the planet. Satan is eliminating God's creation. That's why the time until Jesus Christ comes back, I believe it's very short.
And on how short it is, we have something called the CME coming up, and this will be the end of it. The timelines are shifting apart. This is the Armageddon line, which is going over there.
Like this has ever happened, Doc. Nothing. It's never happened like this on this scale. We don't know what kind of technology that they had before the Great Flood. But the Bible says that Noah was,
listen carefully,
was pure in his generation. Yes. Does that mean he and his family were the last purebloods left on the planet?
It happened before.
Yeah, that's what the Bible says. So, but the Nephilim were here, and the Nephilim are still here, and they're busy, and they're directing these scientists and engineers
And they are now transitioning the human race into another species, which is being merged with technology, synthetic biology. Study that. Just go online and study.
Look up the patents.
Synthetic biology. It will shock you to find out what advances in synthetic biology they've already made.
One of the other interesting aspects of this particular article, though, is how 6G is going to operate in a
Listen carefully to how 6G operates.
whole new environment. It's not going to be operating like 5G is now. Basically, it's radio waves and wiring. It's going to operate in light. It's going to be transmitted through light. Lucifer is the angel of light, and so and so we're talking 6G. I just think it's interesting that even in our own studio here, LED lights, they're pervasive. Every light you own nowadays,
they don't call it smart lights for nothing.
Is an LED light, and I didn't know that it turns on and off a million times a second. But they can now use light to transfer information, and so that's one of the words that we come across at these tech conferences is the word ubiquitous. In other words, it's everywhere you look. What's more ubiquitous than light?
And we talked about this on News Talk last week. So you see where this is all going. So that's the information I wanted to share with you today regarding this situation. And then I wanted to put it to you in a very direct way from Ricardo Bossi on X, or from Australian One Party official. If you feel like everything's falling apart, look closer. It's actually falling into place. So that's what's actually happening. The end of the old order, the end of the Satanists, and the golden age is returning, and that's the Armageddon line. So we'll finish this up with some love and compassion of what we're going to, and just some fun with animals and other things to show you the world we're in and where we're headed.
What is this? Yeah?
Hi, who did that? Who did that?
Bailey, did you finish Annalisa's breakfast this morning?
Did you chew up this pillow? Huh?
Sometimes you can't get bed, you have to laugh.
I just don't understand. This is crazy to me.
Yes, and this one's fine. Like but I have a suspicion it might have been this golden retriever.
Are you proud?
Eat my burger? Mamba, did you eat my burger? Who did it? Who?
Who did it? You can't see me, I'm not moving. This animal, so this young man, he's just discovering his body. This is on Wolf of X. It's just this baby is such a wholesome thread of happiness and refresh button if you didn't know what you need. So here it is. I'm going to share what you need when you're learning about your body and see, oh, is this really mine? I can stop it. Sometimes. Stop that. Okay, if you won't stop. So, I mean, it's just the innocence of children and discovering your body. I can remember those days. It's like, stop doing that. And then how it goes at the end of life. Oh, this has music, but it doesn't need the music. I think it's more potent without the music. So this shows love over the years. "97 years old, Grandpa brings to the grandma still. Look at this. Doing her facial care. Yeah. Look at this. This is so sweet. After 40 years, 25 years. How many times did they have to forgive each other to end up to this point? Yeah, you forgive each other and you keep it going. Look at this. How long have they been together? Oh my goodness. They met in 7th grade, and at 80 years old, 60 years of marriage, they're still in love as ever. That is so sweet. So that's on exit. GPA, Grandpa, you know, at Indiana, Grandpa. True love never gets old. So thank you so much for joining us today. And Paul, thank you for hanging in there a little bit longer.